Hi, Tony Selzer here. Welcome to the Experience Economy. Man, I got a treat here for you guys today. I have Jay Cordova, serial entrepreneur, key thought leader from a digital marketing and strategy standpoint, is really helping companies transform and deliver new value as they're going to market to figure out how to remarket. And we're just starting this conversation. 2 weeks ago, Google exploded the digital marketing world and changed everything. Jay, talk to me about what that is doing and how that even makes more importantly today what we're about to talk about, how we're moving from a product and service economy to an experience economy and what it means to the businesses that are going to be following us.
Hi, folks. Thanks so much for having me here. And Tony, it's always a pleasure being a part of any conversation with you. I think you're the only other guy who can keep up at my pace and maybe even outpace me in the way we think, work, and live kind of at the 100,000
Yeah,
foot
we're
level.
both way out there on ADD world.
Yeah, we're way on the other side. But let me give you a little background on kind of the power and force, power versus force side of things. The anatomy of conscientiousness or consciousness inside of the transactions that now search engine experience is moving towards, right? So it used to be search uh, engine optimization.
Yep.
People used to use all these like hidden lingos
Mm-hmm.
to kind of navigate and trick almost users into landing at their page. So now what Google, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, all of these massive search engines that have artificial intelligence and machine learning have figured out, and what they're discovering is that the outcome is that humans want access to to a truth, and how
Mm-hmm.
if you can drive your truth or the truth of what they're looking for to
Sure.
your or the journey, that customer to your journey,
Mm-hmm.
then you can win attribution, you can win authority ranking, you can win more page views. And so what we're discovering is the bounce rate nationally is under 23 seconds for a new website. We're
Mm-hmm.
finding folks on our platform 6 7 minutes on our websites, and it's
Yep.
because they're intrinsically looking for that uh,
That moment of truth.
discovery. Yeah, this
Yeah.
discovery of you can solve a pain that I have.
Well, it's funny that you say that, right? Because for I've been a sales trainer for years, and one of the things I really talk to our clients about doing is stop selling and just help people make good decisions, right? Just help, but be the expert and be the resource they need to walk through what a good decision is and be able to objectively do that based on your advice. Well, how do you do that? You got to be positioned as an expert. You've got to be truthful in the
Yep.
content you deliver. You have to tell them the bad with the good and you have to really talk about fit and when you're not a fit and when you are a fit. And it seems like what you're telling me and what you're telling our followers is that's starting to move into the digital experience, and now is what Google is starting to rank for. Is that a good way to translate that?
That's exactly right. 6 months ago, I sat down with Google executives that led AdWords, and what they're saying is the impact of every aspect of human endeavor, from commerce to arts to politics, is beneficial for the people who have heightened their awareness levels in
Mm-hmm.
order to distinguish truth and falsehoods. And so, the more you're able to provide research, the more you're able to provide actual society
Mm-hmm.
understanding of what they're looking for, how they can get there, and then what's the best way to do business with you or send them to do the business in the right place, then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to move that fearful nature that they have because they're collectively stuck at this lower consciousness level. And so what we're finding is that everything has been eradicated, everything's been flipped upside down, and now what we're looking to resolve is attribution.
Mm-hmm.
Customer acquisition is an old word. So we're
Yeah.
looking at content marketing, keyword research, pillar based marketing strategies, content strategies, marketing attribution to lead to conversion and conversations inside of all of that.
Yep. It's funny. I remember reading a use case about Progressive and how they
Yeah.
were had their smart quoting tool engine, right? Where they would show them and their competition all quoted in real time, and they
Yeah.
weren't always the cheapest, right?
Sure.
But people would go there to use the tool, and they would convert even when they weren't the cheapest because they were the highest trusted, right? And so that's just a really basic, simple example of how this truth and this search for and thereof is what we're starting to give rank to and starting to give, that the higher value
Market
to,
share,
right.
organic market share is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Providing page 1, 2, 3, 4 research, and then how you're comparing to everybody else. So the solution that we're finding is that if you can save time by automating keyword research and competitive research, then you have go to market a lot faster. And I know that for you, velocity matters. There's only one word, and it's speed with direction.
Well, it kind of brings me to another subject I'd love you to make comment to. The digital piece of every experience of every product and service sold is part of the experience of that product. Your website, your mobile, your content strategy, what you're, like we have a new client that we're working with, and it's a stick and hack, which is it's a golf channel type of thing. Great, very engaging content, almost like Onion meets like the PGA Tour website, right? It's really kind of fun and cool and fun and cool and fun and cool. But they do such a good job of engaging on small levels through content, through their character, through their personality, through their podcast, that they suck me in to this other piece of what they're trying to do, of gamifying and creating a mobile community. And I've shared it now with 3 or 4 people, and I've got comments and compliments back from them, and it's just they are really committing to deliver that. And I think that's what most companies really got to get their head around, whether they like it or not. They're in the digital media business. They're what they're creating and how they're engaging through the small and the big screen that people log on to every day is part of their product. It's part of the experience they're selling. Is that fair?
That's exactly fair. So there's multiple strategies you can use around this. One is content marketing. You need to also understand keyword research. You understand your pillar page, and I can describe kind of the thought leadership behind pillar page strategy.
Sure. Yeah.
And then marketing attribution. You need to know exactly what content to create. You need to know exactly how to plan it in your calendar, and you need to create an automated one-click SEO brief so that you can understand what that customer journey is going to, and what their drop-off points are going to be. And I'm sure you guys are finding it across every single industry. There's nothing protected from having to create content marketing game plan.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, it lends itself to an innovation conversation when we're doing jobs to be done innovation with our clients, right? We're sitting there and we're looking at the ideal client, and we're looking, what are all the problems they have? Not just problems that we solve, but all the problems they have, right? Like if you're a tech entrepreneur, you might have problems with investors. You might have problems with, financing, with legalese, with cap table, with understanding term sheets, right? With all these things that might not have anything to do with me as a marketing firm that's helping high growth tech companies, but it has everything to do with how I want to be positioned to help them, right? Because just the fact that I've got $75,000 in our operating agreement, and I'm letting them use one of those, use ours as part of their startup, because that's problems I've solved. I've had to spend time and energy to do. But that kind of mindset is when you start to look at all the problems they have, you realize all the jobs to be done. And that's how you can start to create a content marketing plan, right? I mean, we think that's a great way to get in the door. Does that fit within line with what you're telling us?
That's exactly right, Tony. And for us, we take it another step forward and use content attribution solutions. So what campaigns are driving revenue? Which pieces of content drive conversations? What organic search terms drive that ideal customer? And then which paid keywords and which organic keywords are actually now leading you to close sales?
And I think
that customer gets you to the most nurtured spot before a salesperson can close, right?
Because you're using Google's actual data to put that plan together, right? It's like blueprinting, so at the highest level, if somebody's really got the budget, you almost can predict their future revenue based on the strategy and the campaign you're executing. That's almost, is that fair?
You're exactly right. You can predict the revenue based on cost per click, but then monthly search volume, and it's a formula. Your conversion rates, and if we can close that gap, now you have the ultimate goal, predictable revenue.
So when you're talking to clients, Jay, there's a bleeding edge and there's a cutting edge. Is that so bleeding that they're really hard to get their heads around that, are we finally ready for that type of conversation? Are we finally ready as a nation, as mid market or growth companies? Can they start to get their head around there's enough data out there and the tools to actually put together a formula for growth?
There's absolutely enough data, and even better yet, there's now leveling of the playing field, particularly today, because it's so the algorithms have completely flipped upside down.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get your pillar-based marketing strategy set appropriately, now you're winning a larger piece of that pie. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we're discovering is that organizations that are spending I don't want to give you specific numbers, but we've seen conversions up to 1 or 2 leads that convert daily on some of our customers. And when you're in tax season and an accountant that's converting daily, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Now the difference is if you're able to get to a place where you own the market, or at least you own that real estate, that you have appreciating assets you're just maintaining. Think of it as like your golf swing. You've got the golf swing set. You understand the muscle memory. Now what you have to work on is pace, breathing, and stamina. So you're going to put some weight to the rest of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it a pie, you've gotten multiple pieces of that pie sliced out, and how do you bring those together so that they actually now complete the rest of it?
Well,
if you're doing just pay per click or cost per click,
yeah,
now you're doing real estate at the like renting level.
Yeah,
right.
You're not building an asset that appreciates over time, right?
Exactly,
and that's
right.
one of the hardest things that we find in helping our clients redesign their prospect experience is understanding how the content strategy is one of those things you build over time. It's one of those things that have an ongoing really explanation of the mission of the organization.
Sure.
Right. And that people are attracted to that mission both digitally and physically, and getting that to work to get in concert is the multi-attribution effect of having all of your marketing tactics come together to make them work better. Like, by itself, PPC is only as good as it can be. But if you have PPC along with a good content strategy,
now we've got that velocity jump. Right?
Yes. You build the ski slope, right? Eventually, it starts to get the ski jump, I should say. And I think that's one of the things that we're really trying to help our clients get their head around. The other thing that I wanted to comment, because I think you and I would be good for it. So a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to think, why would Tony have somebody on that is in the same space and expertise as he is? Well, first of all, you're in an expertise that I don't have hardly. I'm at 101 and you're at 501. And that's part of what people don't understand. The second piece of this is the reason why we partner with companies like you guys is that we understand that we're part of a stack of services-based business that need to work together in order to help our clients succeed.
You said it exactly right.
And there's so many times that vendors in the tech space, especially, and I'm going to generalize for a second, are pulling the thread of the sweater of the other vendor. Sometimes intentionally,
to unravel it.
Yeah. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not intentionally. And I'm going to share a quick story with you that just blows my mind. But that's where companies like us can succeed, is because we're protecting the outcome of the client and the result that we're trying to get, because we're working together to provide the best expertise we can and delivering that outcome that we're trying to create for them. Comment to that, will you?
Yeah, and here's why I think you and I are cut from the same cloth. We understand what partnership looks like, mm-hmm. and we're looking for scenarios where the customer is the one that's going to win.
Yep.
To us, a satisfied customer means they're going to bring more satisfied customers yep. around for us.
Yep.
So what we're doing is creating a curated list almost. I have about 100 flex resources across every time zone in the U.S. and mm-hmm. multiple time zones globally, and you can tap into that network because we're in partnership, right? I'm looking for a SharePoint developer, you got one. You're looking for a content writer or a SEO brief designer, or you're looking for a competitive keyword analysis, mm-hmm. then we'll be able to kind of bring that weight together. And mm-hmm. and that's why things like a partnership, things like cross-platform discoveries and partnerships, those make a lot of sense for us as
Yep.
a company. Those make a lot of sense for you as a company, and I
Yep.
think more organizations can come together as a collective unit,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can actually use that power versus force uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
systematic
Well,
belief, right?
we got pulled into a situation for, a large contractor here locally, and they're spending, 200 grand, 100 grand a month on PPC, right? And they 2 weeks, the leads got shut off, right? No one could figure it out.
And then guess what?
Right. So we're not filling in next year. $89,000 a day is what it costs to deliver this value in the marketplace. And freaking out, blaming the digital marketing firm. Digital marketing firm brings us in because we're kind of a generalist from the sales, marketing, automation, CRM funnel. Well, we immediately called the managed service provider, who was belligerent, by the way, and that wasn't their fault, and that their email's fine. Da 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 da. Well, they tuned the firewall. They didn't understand the ecosystem. The firewall started blocking their own domain, sending automatic leads into the site. Right. So the leads were there. We were able to probably recover 75% of them. I mean, because they were too far gone. Right. And we fixed it. We fixed something that took 2 weeks in 30 minutes. But we had to get everybody together on the same page and understand what were all the tools in the ecosystem. And this is what I mean about pulling the thread of the sweater for the other vendors. Like everybody now, we got brought in and we looked pretty good, but everybody else was at risk in that relationship because they were defensive and protective of their client, right? But they really didn't. They neither really understood what they did. And you can't just say I'm a technology expert today, right? You have to understand the law of specialization in this market and who's got a longer thread sometimes. And it just blows my mind that there aren't more vendors that think that way, like you and I do. That we're really here to make the customer win. And so
that's really what it boils down to, Tony. We're here to make the customer win, and I'm not here to get every piece of the credit for it. Mm-hmm. The reason we work well, and I think what Seamless does amazingly, and why the play on Seamless is so good, is that thread just keeps going and then comes back in, and it's interwoven into the fabric of everything.
Right. I think, the one thing, there's one of our core values that we keep for the show, and it's for ours. It's like, keep the promise. And technology's job is to make our lives easier, better, higher value.
Work for us.
Right.
Work for us.
Yes. And that is where, that I think everybody that we have on the show and everybody we speak to that we partner with is fundamentally believes that that's part of their job.
Yeah.
Is to keep that promise. Would you agree?
I would 100% agree. And in fact, I would take it one step further. You should fire your software if it's not producing the appropriate results. And I think you and I have talked in the past about this. Consider SaaS. Consider any. Look at the budget and
just
see
like
what's costing you. It's an employee.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have its appropriate KPIs, if it's not converting, if it's not working for you, it's working against you. Well, if it's not moving the needle up and to the right, it's moving the needle down to the left.
Convergently, the excuse is blaming the tool for the result, right?
An inanimate tool.
Yeah. It's like if you've got into a Salesforce or a Microsoft environment, you just got to commit to optimize those environments based on the cost and what other things you're putting into it. It's plumbing. It's like it's a change management movement that you need to lead your company through. It's a change. It's getting people to adopt things and removing excuses. If the tool's the challenge, then we got a problem. But the tool should perform as well as any employee, and you should have those expectations. So those two disciplines have to be moving in concert. Does that make sense?
That makes exactly sense. And if it's not part of your solution, then it's taking away from your solution.
Right. So what does your ideal client look like, Jay? When you're looking for growth partners?
Yeah.
Give a quick plug on what the ideal problem is you solve and who you solve it for.
Yeah. What we solve is measuring marketing performance and how that performance is now tuned to that customer journey experience. Mm-hmm. And so somebody that wants to work with us wants to consider conversion tracking. They want to consider their path to purchase modeling. They want to consider influencing factors. They want to consider CRM integrations into what they're doing and automating that programmatic tracking into that process. So again, if you're looking to get discovered, if you want to use data, and if you want to understand how content and marketing marry together from an art and science component, that's what we're looking for. No client is too small because we have opportunities for everyone to be at the level. Like I said, the playing field was leveled. Google has now made it a direct pathway so that a small, tiny, minuscule company can have the exact same and if not greater impact than those massive Fortune 500 and above organizations that are spending millions of dollars on PPC. We can find better conversion, sexier conversion, and even more direct customer to path to purchase journey with organic search engine optimization and experience optimization, really.
Jay Cordova, I appreciate the Prpl pineapple and you leveling the playing field for Google. Have a great
Hey,
day,
thanks.
bro.
Thanks, man. We'll talk.
All right. Hey.